Events is presented by eDragonTees.com, the premier company for your t-shirts, your banners, hats, flyers, embroidery, web design, and yes, even your koozies for your beverages. Online at eDragonTees.com. That's eDragon, Tees.com. Oh, yeah. How fast can you run 1 mile? The second annual Crossman 1 Mile coming up June 14th in San Antonio, Texas. Find out more information at crossman.org. And, of course, ispeakforyou.net. Oh, my goodness. So we're live in the ispeakforyou.net studios with one of my favorite people. I know she's my sister. However, if you need to put on a race, this young lady, you got to get a hold of her. I'll say that right now because she is one of the best. I said that not only because of my sister, but again, I respect her as a race director. Totally different person. Sherry Purnell's in the studio. And I know Gary Brimmer's listening.
Oh, Lord.
So... But no, Sherry, of course, from Athlete Guild, and you guys put on so many races and everything. And tell us about Athletes Guild.
Athlete Guild started out with Scott Wood. He's actually the owner of Athlete Guild, and he started in New Braunfels, putting on races there, just timing, and then started to do race management. So he hired me, and we have probably about 50 races we manage a year and 257 we time.
And this is not just get out your stopwatch and write a time down with the number on a piece of paper on a clipboard. This is professional timing, computer chips and all that stuff. And people are like, oh, is it chip time? That's the first question they always ask me. And I'm like, I'm the announcer. I have no idea. But it usually is. But with Athlete Guild, you guys are the, I would say, pioneers in the forefront of the chip timing that you do use.
Yes, we have the chips on our bibs, and it looks like a piece of tape. It's not thick. It's just most people don't even know that it's there. It's changed quite a bit over the years. I remember doing finish line cards when I started timing races in 1980s.
What were those ones, the popsicle sticks where you basically hand them a person?
Yeah. I never did that. I just did the finish line cards, and even at the Combat Medic one year, there was 1,800 people, and I did the results with finish line cards. So that was a lot of fun. And
you, and I'll say you probably did it better than most people have done with their timing systems in today's age.
Yeah, it's sad but true. But there are some timers out there that I could do card results and be home by the time they finish the results. So it's pretty sad, but.
That's true. I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it firsthand. I'm like, okay, 2.5 hours for a 5K results, and you don't know who the first place overall is not a good idea.
No.
So, but again, Athlete Guild, you can find the website is where again, Sherry? What's your website?
AthleteGuild.com.
Sherry's a little nervous. She, her brother's a professional announcer, but she gets nervous when she gets on a microphone. So it is very rare to have her in studio. Very, very rare. And she's only here because the girls are playing together in Shelby's room. So, but let's get into it. We got a lot of things we want to talk about real quick. Marathons, because a lot of folks are like, okay, Rock and Roll Marathon's coming up, BCS Marathon over in Bryan College Station. They just opened up yesterday. They've already got 1,250 entries just opening yesterday. For the half marathon and the marathon, and it'll sell out quickly, the BCS marathon. Of course, you find it at bcsraceseries.com for more information. But marathons, why do so many folks, and you and I both have run a lot, but why do so many folks look at that like, okay, I've done a 5K, I've done a 10K, I need to do a marathon? Why do they do that?
I think of course, it's the challenge and something that all runners, you go to the next thing. You start off with a 5K, then all of a sudden that's not enough. You move on to the 10K, and then you move on to the half, and then eventually it's the marathon. And sometimes it's the 50K, the 100-miler, the 50-miler. It just keeps going for some people. But the marathon is like a status symbol to a lot of runners. I ran a marathon, and now, with the stickers on the back of the cars, like everybody I pass have a 26.2 or
right.
13.1 sticker, which is really cool. Marathons have, when I first ran mine, my very first marathon, it was very different back then. I mean, there was water stops, mile splits, and all that, but there wasn't as many people.
Right.
I mean, I could run the whole way. I didn't have to go walk around or jog around people walking. Now it's a totally different thing. There's so many people just do it just to do it, but it's an awesome.
So what has been your favorite marathon of all the ones that you've done? I mean, I was running.
My favorite is not my best time marathon, but my favorite marathon I would say is the Marine Corps marathon in Washington, D.C. And the reason for that is you can go and see all the monuments and stuff and see what our country's founded on, but also because there's a lot of men in uniform along the way.
Well, here we go.
It's an incentive.
I'll get to the next water station.
Yeah.
So obviously the Marine Corps Marathon is awesome, but you've run Boston as well, and that's one of those that once you qualify for, you run, and it obviously it just happened a couple weeks ago, but it's one of those things like people are like, oh, I want to run a PR at Boston, and my philosophy is, and I've never run Boston, I never will run Boston, even if I qualify when I'm 70 years old, I'll never make it. But it's one of those things like, when you went to Boston, did you sit there and literally go, you know what, I'm going to enjoy my time at Boston, it's not going to be. I know it's not going to be a PR race for me.
Actually, when I went to Boston, I was registered, but I had torn my meniscus and had meniscus surgery 8 months before that. Oh. So my longest run...
So therefore you're saying don't go skiing before you're supposed to go run Boston?
Right. My longest run was 6 miles in February. So I didn't plan on running Boston, but that night, the night before, I was thinking, okay, I'll go as far as I can go, and just to be in it, and then I'll take the metro back to the finish line. But I was more scared of taking the metro and not knowing where to get off,
right,
than I was finishing the marathon. So right. I just went ahead and finished it.
And you still probably did a faster time than I did at White Rock in 2003, I think it was.
No, I was trying to, but I think I was a minute off.
No, because what happened was Sherry owned a running store up in Fort Worth, and I flew in from California, I think it was, and ran with a group of her friends that she was training, and we ended up doing 5 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds, I swear. And but we stopped and had wine along the way, and literally walked from, I think it was mile 13 through 26.1. I think we walked that whole way. So, but that was one of my favorites because there was no pressure. It was like, hey, you have a time limit, but you're going to make it, so just go have fun with it. So, but even today, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But to continue on with that kind of thesis, though, what was your least favorite and why?
My least favorite was I ran Houston Tenneco 6 times, but one time it was 28 degrees and sleeting, and it was like that the whole time. And that was back before running apparel technology was as great as it is right now.
Right.
So we had white cotton gloves, and every 5 miles, one of my friends would meet us, me and the girl I was running with, and change out our gloves. He would put them on his heater on his dashboard, and that tells you how long ago this was. And change out our gloves. So that was one way we made it, because we knew, okay, Phil's going to be there in 2 more miles, and we can get warm gloves. We can just make it 2 more miles and get warm gloves, and then that's how we made that marathon. But it was not fun whatsoever.
No, I bet you. So we're talking about marathons and everything. Obviously, your least favorite. My least favorite was Las Vegas, because it tells you again, years ago, they used to take you out by bus to 26.2 miles, and then you ran toward Vegas. So we were running, and I'm going, oh, the lights are there. We're running to the lights. But, it was 26.2 miles away, and you see the town because there's nothing else out there but Vegas. And that was my least favorite, and I was like, we're never going to make it to Vegas. But, of course, we went out the night before and put our numbers on because we knew we weren't going to go to sleep. So we were out gambling, playing blackjack and everything until it was time to go get on the buses. So that was another reason why I didn't have a fun time out there.
Yeah, probably.
So, but we're going to come real quick right back. We're going to come back and talk about training in the summer. How do you hydrate? We're talking about clothes, shoes. What time of the day is best? Should you wear a hat? And how do you hydrate out on the road when you don't feel like carrying a bottle? And how do you carry a bottle when you're on the road? So we're going to be right back. This is Mark and Sherry from ISpeakForYou.net and, of course, from Athlete Guild. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah. How fast can you run 1 mile? The second annual Crossman 1 Mile coming up June 14th in San Antonio, Texas. Find out more information at crossman.org and, of course, ISpeakForYou.net. This segment brought to you by SanAntonioTriathlete.com for all your training, rankings, race, news, swimming and cycling safety, even wetsuit rentals. SanAntonioTriathlete.com. Thursday, is presented by DragonTV.com. Please visit your company for your t-shirts, your badges, hats, flyers, embroidery, web design, and yes, even your koozies for your building. Online at eDragonTV.com. That's eDragonTV.com. So we're back. Quick commercials, of course. Talked about the Crossman 1 Mile. You can find out more information at crossman.org or ISpeakForYou.net. And the second annual, of course, the first male under 4:30 for the mile is going to get $200 cash. First female under 5 minutes for the mile is going to get $200 cash. First Crossman alumni, doesn't matter if you're a Crossman member, you will get, male will get $100. The first female will get $100. So there's money on the line for the Crossman 1 Mile. That's going to be on June 14th. Of course, you can get the information at crossman.org or ISpeakForYou.net. The race flyers will be in the stores tomorrow. Also coming up this weekend, the Texas A&M San Antonio Circuit races put on by Bike World. The races start at 8:15 at Texas A&M San Antonio and go all the way up to 11:50 when the pros take off at 11:50. That's on Saturday. Then on Sunday, the Bicycle Heaven presents one SI for Criterium at one Days Zavala Center. You can find out more information about that at Kickstand Racing Online. Again, I got Sherry in from Athlete Guild. Sherry, you're humble, and I like that, even though you're my sister and you brag about yourself more than I know.
Right.
But no, you've done a tremendous amount of marathons. You've already done ultras. You've done a triathlon in your life, which was the funnest triathlon I've ever seen in my life. No, I got a story about that real quick, but we're going to come back to it. Anyway, training in the summer. So let's go on into it because there's a lot of things that go on with folks that are like, okay, I'm going to run the BCS marathon. I'm going to run the Rock and Roll Marathon. I've got to train during the summer. You never know what the weather's going to be like. Like right now, the weather's perfect in the morning to go train, but you don't need to be running 20 miles at this point with the marathon, not until December. So training in the summer, how do you advise folks, because you also are a coach, you do have people that run with you. How do you advise folks on hydration?
Usually same old thing that everybody says, drink a lot of water as much as possible, not just when you're running, but all day long, especially in Texas heat. I wear a belt with a bottle on it now. Years ago we used to just drink out of people's water hoses.
Now you'll get shot.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Now you can't do that. But as much as you can, try to just stay hydrated. Drink a lot of water everywhere you go, and run in the shade. And one of the things that Gary and I have talked about. Obviously, Gary's on travel.
Of course, you can find Gary online at GaryBrimmer.com. Coach Gary Brimmer's got an incredible training series coming up for the summer, for summer sessions. Again, go to GaryBrimmer.com. But one of the things Gary and I have talked about is don't try to do something in races that you have not tried in practice. So folks are like, oh, I'm going to go get a Camelback from Academy or whatever, fill it with 3 liters of water for a 5K. That may not work for them. Don't do it in a race if you have not done it in training. So your advice pretty much is, hey, make sure you run with it before you try to use it in a race.
That's true. Just 2 weeks ago, we had a guy that runs with us that was going to do his first half marathon in Temple, Texas. And he was, the Wednesday before, somebody was telling him to take gels and all this other stuff and go buy a bottle and, everything. And it's like, hey, if you haven't done it yet, don't do it now. Wait till your next half marathon. Train that way.
Right.
But that's the hard part is a lot of people, when they're beginners, they ask people a lot of advice, but they don't really take it, and what's so sad is some runners that have run marathons in the past say, oh yeah, you need to do this. And oh yeah, you need to do that. But in reality, it's like, okay, if you haven't done it in training, don't do it on race day.
So true. So true. So we talked about hydration. Obviously, like right now, I ran 30 minutes this morning. First 30 minutes I've run in, I don't know, since I was injured 8 months ago. And I even took a water bottle out me then because it was nice and chilly. But I was like, you know what? I know my body's going to need that hydration. Plus, when I start getting into longer runs, I still want to get used to carrying that bottle with me. So because where I am, where I run, there are no water stops out there.
Right.
1604 Access Road. I'm not going to run into McDonald's, at mile 6 going, oh, I need some water. And they're like, get out, dude, unless you buy a Big Mac or something. But that'd be really bad. So, but no, clothing, let's talk about clothing real quick because like you said it earlier, technology has come such a long way in clothing because I remember when people were running with trash bags and everything and trying to figure out what to wear in a cold day. Like today, you can start off in a nice chilly morning, but then it's going to warm up before you get done. So how do you set your clothing out?
It's different because like today on a chilly day, a lot of people, and I saw that yesterday.
Really? They got to do the emergency test right now? Shelby, hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead. Talk about that.
Yesterday we were out in the morning and I saw a lot of people with long sleeves, long pants, because it was a chilly morning, but it wasn't cold enough for all that. So what a good rule of thumb is if you walk outside in a t-shirt or a tech shirt and shorts and you feel a little chilly, that's good because when you run, you're not going to be that chilly at all. You're going to warm up. So.
And we see that a lot of times at races. I mean, folks wear sweaters and jackets and everything. We're like, you're going to be tossing that in a minute. I mean, as soon as you get around the corner, you're like, okay, I need to tie this around my waist or throw it. So that's a good rule of thumb. You walk out, and you're a little bit chilly, then that's fine. If you walk out and you don't feel the chill air, then you've overdressed.
Right. And in the heat, it's real important to make the effort or go out and buy real running apparel like the shirts or the tech shirts. They wick the moisture away from your skin. They keep you cooler than a cotton shirt. A cotton shirt holds your sweat in, and it just gets heavy and just holds it, and your whole body doesn't breathe as well as on a tech shirt.
And for males, the cotton can actually irritate your nipples, and then you get nipple bleeding.
True. Seen that hundreds
of times. Seen that a lot of times, yeah. So the clothing is very important. So, so many local running stores and everything that can help you out with that. But you want to say, and I'll go ahead and say it. You want to talk to someone that's knowledgeable, that's run marathons.
Right.
A 5K runner. No disrespect to a 5K or 10K runner, but again, this is my own opinion. This isn't share your athletes guild or anything like this. My opinion. A 5K, 10K runner isn't going to know what it's like, what the tire is going to be like at mile 18.
Right.
Is it going to be binding? Is it going to be restrictive? Is it going to be irritating your skin? So a lot of that comes into play. Make sure when you go to your local running store, and support local, by the way, you want to make sure you talk to that marathoner that's been there, done that.
Right. And most running stores hire people that are runners.
Right.
Most of them do. And if not, that you can look up things on the internet, that's for sure. But you're right about that. My first marathon, my feet swelled so much after mile 20 that I had cord locks on them, and I have to stop and pinch the cord locks to get the shoes to loosen up a little bit. And
Evelyn wants to get in on the conversation. Talking about her cord locks on her shoes are hurt.
So,
so no, go ahead. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, the clothing, the shoes, and everything
Right.
come into play. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We're gonna come back and talk about shoes and how important it is. If you wear a size 6 heel, you do not want to wear that in a running shoe. This is Mark with iSpeakFree.net, and we'll be right back. Thursdays, Races and Events is presented by eDragonTees.com, the premier company for your T-shirts, your banners, hats, flyers, embroidery, web design, and yes, even your koozies for your beverages. Online at eDragonTees.com. That's eDragonTees.com. Oh, yeah. How fast can you run 1 mile? The second annual Crossman 1 Mile coming up June 14th in San Antonio, Texas. Find out more information at crossman.org. And, of course, iSpeakForYou.net. This segment is brought to you by SanAntonioTriathlete.com for all your training, rankings, race, news, swimming and cycling safety, even wetsuit rentals. SanAntonioTriathlete.com. So we're back, and we're talking about training in the summer or running in general. Last week was the cycling show. Next week will probably be a swimming show. We're probably going to have Coach Jen Rulon and Mac Williams in. But, of course, Sherry's my sister. She's coming here anytime, day or night. And I'm glad it's not nighttime because we'd probably have Shiner broken out on the table or something like that. But training, Sherry, how important are shoes? I mean, you can't run without shoes. As we find out from Vibram, that was the biggest scam in the world was those fingertier shoes. And Gary and I have talked about it many times, and I know you've done a lot of marathons and stuff that I've never seen anybody finish a marathon with those shoes on. There was a reason why. The shoes are so important.
Yeah, that's true. Most of the ones I've seen, they were holding them in their hands as they were crossing the finish line because there was a problem. But there are some supporters in that too. So very few, but there are some. Shoes are the most important thing in your running.
Yeah.
Most important, I can't think of the word.
Well, because
anyway.
the aspect of it, because folks that pronate and they're like, "Oh, I don't pronate." I mean, I went to someone and I've been pronating since I was a kid, and I went to someone. He's like, "Oh yeah, you supernate," and I was like, "There's no way, man."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, no, you're flat-footed. You don't overpronate at all." I'm going, "You're talking to the wrong guy." I was crippled when I was a kid. I was Forrest Gump. I had braces on my legs. I know my legs and my feet I pronate.
Right.
So how important is it to, obviously, again, you go to a reputable store that know how to look at your feet. That's
true. And shoes are the most important equipment in running. If you don't have the right shoe, you would most likely get injured, and then you're not going to run. And so it's even more important for beginners to get the right shoe because you want to keep them running. And if they're in the right thing, they're going to not be injured.
Right.
And that's the last thing they need to be worried about is what the shoe is. But unfortunately, it's hard to get people to realize that. They think, and I did too when I first started running, that my $8 TR8XXs were just as good as the New Balance that my dad bought me for $40.
Right.
And I didn't see any difference in them. However, the New Balance were lighter and had more cushion. But that was my first pair of running shoes, and I had no idea the difference.
Right.
It is very, very important. it's real hard sometimes. This shoe might feel good in the store, but once you run in it, it doesn't feel good. But most of the local running stores here work with you, because I know all the shoe companies will. So if you don't feel like you got something, you're stuck with it and you have to stay with it. Most running stores will return them.
Yeah, it's so important because we're going to talk about sizing, because like I said, if you're a size 6, male or female, doesn't matter. We're just taking that as an example. You're a size 6 regularly in your dress shoe or whatever, and you go to a running store and they're like, okay, we recommend this shoe for you. It could be Asics, New Balance, whatever, and it's a size 7. Don't freak out. Don't go, well, I wear a size 6, and let me talk to someone who knows. Don't do that, because like Sherry will tell you, and all distance runners will tell you, and I'll tell you, your feet are going to swell. And when they do, you're going to need that extra room.
Yes, not only that, the running shoes run a lot different than a regular shoe.
Right.
So usually it's a size and a half larger than what your regular shoes are. And again, your feet are going to swell, and if you don't have enough room in your toe area, you're going to get black toenails. They'll fall off, and it's not pretty.
It's so true, so true. So obviously, shoes and you being a runner for so long, and obviously knowing all the shoe companies, and you've run in so many different shoes. What are your favorites and why?
For probably 25 years, I ran in Asics, and then I switched to Brooks. Not here lately, and I just like the fit better. The fit's better, and it works better. Asics had changed my favorite shoe, and I started having a lot of problems, and I didn't like the change, and so I changed. And that's the only reason. But I mean, it doesn't matter what I like. If I run in this particular shoe, doesn't mean you'll like it or it's a good shoe for you. And that's another misconception people have. They'll tell a new runner, "Oh, you got to wear this particular brand or shoe because that's what I wear and it's a great shoe." But that's not necessarily true. It's whatever's best for your foot type.
So I just put on Facebook, we're talking about shoes, clothing, and so much stuff going on as the two future runners are running around the house and everything. Let's talk about time of day, because there's folks like when I was getting ready for my ultra, I wanted it the hotter time of the day because I knew in the ultra I'd be running through the heat. But there's folks out there that are going, oh, I can't run over 60 degrees. If it's over 60, I can't run, or I can't do it if it's over 80. So what, especially this time of the year, and it's weird that our weather is doing this, but what time of the day is preferred? What is the usual, hey, we should go run at this time of the day?
If they don't want to run over 60 degrees, they need to move somewhere else.
move north.
Early morning, late evenings, but it's still, it's San Antonio, so I've been to some races sweating before 7 a.m.
Oh, yeah. And that's coming.
Yeah, and it is
it's coming.
But anytime that you can do it really is good. I wouldn't do it in the middle of the day. I wouldn't run in the middle of the day unless I really had to. And if I did, I would probably do it on treadmill in the summer, because it is over 100 degrees here most days in the summer.
I beg to differ. I respect your opinion, but that's so true. I mean, there's folks that you go to Lifetime or Goals or any of the gyms, and they're packed during the day. Well, folks, I mean, you're on their lunch break, I understand, but there's folks that aren't working. They're stay-at-home moms or dads or what have you, and they are running during the day on the treadmills. But I found that I none against treadmills, again, no disrespect to those folks, but I hate treadmills. It's like running track. I just feel like I'm going nowhere. So I'd run during the middle of the day. But I would stay well hydrated, and I lost 47 pounds. So, and of course, I got hurt and gained all that that weight back. And now I'm going, okay, I need to get back into it. So, but time of day is pretty particular, because there's folks like right now, they're out there running. They're going, oh, I love it in the heat. And there's people going, oh, I can't stand it in the cold.
Yeah, it's like everything. It's whatever's the best for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like the middle of the day heat in August and July. But,
oh no.
But then again, I run at 6 o'clock at night, and it'll be hot too.
Yeah. So let's talk about hats real quick. We've gone over hydration. We've talked about clothing. We've talked about shoes. We've talked about the time of day. Let's talk about hats real quick. like myself, I have to run with a visor on. I can't run with a straight hat. A visor is again, it's all preference and everything. It's what you do. And there's some folks that can't run with hats. What is your recommendation for that? Especially in the summer when it's boiling hot out.
I would recommend something, but technical also, again, a running technical hat, not a ball cap that or a
trucker's hat. Trucker's hat.
But a running technical hat. I think the closed hats on top hold the heat in, because a lot of your body temperature evaporates out of the top of your head. So I also wear visors, but it is a running technical visor that I wear too. However, I'm not a bald man either, so I don't know the difference.
You making a hint right now? You making a hint?
I don't know. I guess that might make a difference for some people. You might need, or some men, you might need to
use sunscreen or something. Yeah,
cover that up.
Yeah,
but I think visors are a good way to do it.
Yeah, I announced the Surfside Marathon, and everybody got a visor at the start line. Even if they had a hat, they were like, "Oh, I got a visor." They threw their hat off and put the visor on.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's pretty cool. It's a Surfside Marathon hat. So we're going to take a real quick commercial break, folks. If you have any questions for Sherry, you can chat with us live on Spreaker.com, or you can text us at 210-374-0140, and we'll get you your question answered. Because when we're coming back, we're going to talk about races behind the scenes of a race. What do you not see that you probably would never see unless you actually worked a race?
Yeah.
And also volunteering at races, music while running, and upcoming races with Athlete Guild. This is Mark with iSpeakFree.net, and I'm proud to have Sherry from Athlete Guild in the studio, and we'll be right back. Thursdays, Races and Events is presented by eDragonTees.com, the premier company for your t-shirts, your banners, hats, flyers, embroidery, web design, and yes, even your koozies for your beverages. Online at eDragonTees.com. That's eDragon, TEES.com.
Were you aware? Texas has a law that commercial vehicles, when passing a road user such as a cyclist, runner, or walker, must obey a 6 feet distance between said vehicle and the road user. Texas also has a law that all vehicles, when passing a road user, must obey a 3 feet distance. Can you see me now? 3 feet, 6 feet. It's the law.
Oh, yeah. How fast can you run 1 mile? The second annual Crossman 1 Mile coming up June 14th in San Antonio, Texas. Find out more information at crossman.org. And, of course, iSpeakForYou.net. Oh, we're back. Of course, we talk about eDragon Tees, our sponsor of the show. And, of course, the Texas 3-foot law. Private-owned vehicle is 3 foot between yourself and the runner, cyclist, walker, whatever it should be. Commercial vehicles have to give a 6-foot room between cyclist, runner, walker, and the commercial vehicle. If they don't, hey, report them. Take a video, take a photo. My good friend Dan Morgan over in Houston has got an incredible photo online of the 3-foot law. You got to check that out. But we're with Sherry of Athlete Guild, been running since birth, I used to say. But she's done more marathons than most people even saw on TV. And she's got more miles in her legs than most people have on their car. And what else can I say about her? Incredible race director. So we're going to talk about something that she and I always talk about off air. And we're going to do this on air because no one's listening at all anymore, so it doesn't matter. But behind the scenes at races, what is some of the things that happen behind the scenes that people just walk up to get their number will never see?
Let's see. There's been things like, one race I had, fire was on the course right before we started the race.
Nice.
So we had to get an alternate route. And then recently, I had another race, and the police said we were on the wrong course and wanted to change it, but actually it was the same course we had originally gave them that they told us we could not run down. So they changed it back to the one we wanted in the first place 10 minutes before the race start. So there's a lot of crazy things that can happen.
One of my favorites is, besides, can I have my running music played at the start to, my GPS says this is 3.13, not 3.10. So why isn't it measured accordingly? To which chalk do I run on? Because this one looks fresher than the other one. Do I run on the fresh chalk? And I'm like, yes, that's the race chalk kind of thing.
Yeah.
To my favorite of all time, start and finish line, huge thing is up, and the structure's up, the music's there, we're all sitting right there, and they come up and ask, is this the start finish line?
Yeah.
No, this isn't. This is the 1 mile part.
Yeah, you get a lot of crazy questions, that's for sure. A lot of them are, the biggest one is the start finish line. They're standing right under it and asking you. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know what to say.
Another one, I mean, obviously you've seen like where people order medium shirts and then they get there, and I'm a big guy. I'll say it. No disrespect to the big guys because I'm a big guy. But my thing is if you order a medium shirt and you're an extra large, don't ask for an extra large when you get there because the numbers are set.
Right.
You order the shirts.
And a lot of times the double XLs are $2 extra.
That's right, because it's more material.
Yeah.
A lot of guys don't. They're like, oh, well, I can fit in a medium by the time I race this race. But, they're sitting around eating ho-hos and bonbons.
Right. But in the defense of the runners, too, a lot of times, and I, being a race director, I don't even know what the shirts are going to look like when I get them. And they'll, the printer will say, oh, they're running really large, or, oh, they're running really small.
Right.
Like, well, if I don't know that, how's the runner's going to know? So there's a lot of changing shirts and stuff. So you have to be aware of that. But yeah, the GPSs is a real sore to most race directors because when you measure a course, you measure it with a wheel.
Well, the Jones counter. Yeah.
Yeah. And you measure it from point to point. And that's the way, when you certify a course, it's certified that way too. It's not from this, from the right side of the road, follow it all the way up to the tree and turn right or something like that. It's point to point. And but your race may not go point to point because you have to be on one side of the road or cone, so it's going to be a little longer. I've had a lot of people say that using their GPSs, and GPSs are not accurate 100%. Only
right.
The military have accurate GPSs, and it's not a running watch.
And the reason is why?
Yeah, well,
terrorism.
So saying that, there's a lot of people that run with their smartphones, map my run, things
right.
like that. And my friend and I that I run with, we tried. She had a GPS, I had a GPS, and I used map my run, and all three were different distances. We would, one watch would beep 1 mile, we'd go another 20 yards, another one would beep, and then, they're all off.
Then you look at Jones counter and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, that's not different.
Yeah, it's all off. So, don't go screaming at the timers or the race directors when you really don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because the reason why they do that, folks, and I even said this to a young man with the initials PW. I go, look, dude. I go, did we have an opening ceremony? Did we have doves lifting off? Where someone shooting fire into a oval? And I said, no, this is not the World Championships. This isn't the Olympics. This is a fun run.
Right.
This isn't even the state championships. You're not at the Texas relays. This is a fun run, and you're going to get a medal because you probably got one in your age group. But when you're sitting there screaming at the timers and myself as the announcer, the race director and everything, going, this is 3.13, it's not 3.10, dude, chill out.
Right. Well, there's a lot of things. Like I said, there's a lot of different factors in it. I've been to some events that we were hired for, and the people that hired us didn't want to start and finish at a certain spot and made us change on race day.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
So things change like that. I've been to a race where the announcer told us we had to start and finish where his stage was. Because,
what?
Yeah, because
that wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Never seen the guy again, but he said, yeah, you have to start and finish here because that's where every race they start and finish where I'm at. And it was like, seriously?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need to hire that guy.
So anyway, I mean, there's a lot of factors that the typical runner that shows up and doesn't know. And they don't know what all the work that you put into an event either. You know, you're out there at 4:30 or 5 a.m. setting everything up. You were there the day before. You know, and it's so much work that is put into putting on an event, and people come and pick up their bib and run. That's easy. I mean, I would love to do that every weekend, you know, and instead of
Michelle and I had that conversation last night. I was like, I'm tired, you know, and she's like, well, you know, you have a couple weekends off coming up, and I was like, yeah, but I've been going at it since January. I'm tired. I would love to go to a race some weekend, or, you know, just go walk the race or whatever. You know, she goes, well, that's your job. Shut up. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. So we're going to play this volunteer commercial. We'll be right back. We're not going to turn the microphones off. This is basically a volunteer commercial my 10-year-old son did saying, hey, volunteer.
Volunteer. Is there a weekend that is an off weekend from racing or training? Then volunteer. Find an event in your area. Email the director or point of contact. Volunteer and help out the community that gives you so much. All events need volunteers from setup to registration to course marshals, to finish line to water stations. You get the hint. Volunteer today.
That's what I say, volunteer. I always tell people that are complaining, and I get complaints at every race I've done. It doesn't matter what it's about. Have you, one, I always ask them, have you ever put on a race? And no. Have you ever worked a race? No. Okay. You don't understand that some of these races, there's only maybe 5 people that are putting on the whole thing. And those 5 people are stretched out so many different directions right now.
Right. And a lot of times people tell you they're going to have 40 volunteers, and you get there and there's only 5 volunteers,
right,
and you can't put on a 10K and a 5K with 5 volunteers in Alamo Heights.
No.
To be course marshal. So I've seen that before, and it's really hard. And everybody looks at the race director like, why wasn't the water stop set up, and why wasn't this happening? And like, well, because I didn't know the volunteers were not there until I drove by in the lead vehicle. You know, and I can't
the table
exactly
and water
get out
sitting
and do
on the
it.
ground.
Yeah. So yeah, volunteers are very important. San Antonio has a good volunteer group. You know, there's a lot of groups that will volunteer. Valero, CPS. There's so many people that will do it. It's just that you know, do it, especially if you're a runner. Learn about races and what it takes, because it'll open your eyes, because you have no idea what it takes to put on an event.
I mean, that's so true. I mean, we had someone, she went and volunteered to do T-shirt distribution, and she goes, "Man, people are so mean." She goes, "You know, all I am is handing out the smalls. Is this it? This is not women's cut? How come you only have this? Do you have a different color?" It's like,
right.
Look, you know, this is the shirt. We didn't put that on the flyer. What color would you like? You know,
right. And you can't appease everyone and have 8 different colors. I mean, it's not cost effective, and you're usually putting on a race for a nonprofit to raise money for them, not to give you.
And unfortunately,
it's not Dillard's,
right. And it's unfortunate there's so many people that are putting on nonprofits putting on events that they're not really making any money, because the shirt cost, the awards cost, and it's not the race director or the announcers or anything like that. Well, there are some announcers that will freaking rape you, as I call it, but
and race management companies as well.
There are some race managers. Yeah, they'll come out there and say, "Oh, it's gonna be, you know, X amount of dollars." You're like, "Well, that would pay for my car, my mortgage, my college tuition," you know. But it's one of those things like, you know, volunteer. and I always tell people, I used to tell something in California as well when I lived there, is volunteer for 6 months at a race for a racing company. Say, okay, I don't want to get paid. I just want to be like an intern. Go out and I'll help you set up the start finish line and tear it down at the end of the day. I'll help you with registration. I'll help you with the aid stations. I'll help you with the award ceremonies. I'll help you with that. That way you get a feel of the whole gamut of what's going on. Even data entry, the day of that morning of when the people are registering and the lines are long, real quick, I got ADHD. Make sure you get to a race with plenty of time. Park, walk over, register, check in, get your numbers, all that stuff, and then go disappear and wait for the race start. Don't come up 20 minutes before or 15 minutes before a race start and go, okay, I'm here. It's like, oh, my God, it's mad scramble time.
Yes. Probably the biggest thing I can think of right now is we had one race in McAllister Park, and that area right where you start the race at Pavilion 2 is really tough.
But this isn't your doing, though. In your defense, this is where the city says this is where you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But we were already 10 minutes after the race supposed to start. We had the national anthem, and it was for someone had died and all this, and so we had a lot of things going on. And we were about to start the race, and we had to stop a car from coming. And the girl was screaming at us, "I'm running the race."
She's in the car.
It's 8:10.
She's in the car.
Yeah, she's in the car. She wanted us to let her go so she can park and make the race. So that's a prime example. I mean, come on, get there on time.
Very glad I wasn't the announcer. I would have the whole crowd look at her and say, "Hello, what time is it?" But it's one of those things. And also, being a race announcer, and I've been asked to write an article about what I see as a race announcer, different races and stuff. But I've also seen races start early when they weren't supposed to. Mm. And like the major competitors, the ones that you really want racing, come up and going, "Hey, didn't the race start at 8 o'clock?" You're like, "Yeah, what's 8 o'clock?" I know, they started early.
Wow, I've never done that. So.
Yeah, you haven't, but I've done that.
I'm very time conscious, and I get real freaked out if it's 8:02 and we haven't started yet.
Yep, I've actually had a race director, a local one here in San Antonio, that told me he would never use me again because I'm that way. I'm time conscious, and he's like, "It's 7:55, we can go," and I'm like, "No, we can't go. It's 8 o'clock. There's people still in line to register." He's like, "Well, I want to hurry up and get this over with," and I'm like,
"Right,
it's 8 o'clock. You can't. 8 o'clock is when I'm gonna go."
Right.
And he's like, "Well, I'll never use you again." I'm like, "Okay, well, that's fine with me because I'm plenty busy." But it's like, come on, man. 8 o'clock is 8 o'clock. You can't start early and stuff like that. Even if your water station volunteers are out there, and I mean, it's still one of those things. So make sure you volunteer, folks, and get involved. Athlete Guild does so much, and I love Scott and I love my sister because one of the things they do is obviously they do the Capital of the Coast. The relay registration is going on. I just got a Facebook message about they've got so many teams that are registering right now. That relay runs in October. It's from Austin to Corpus Christi. You start at the Capitol and you finish on the beach behind Lady Lex, and it's timed by Athlete Guild. So that's
awesome.
So this year you get to go hang out at the beach with me.
Cool. I doubt it. I'll probably be working another race.
but we're going to take a real
Scott
quick
makes
commercial.
all the fun ones.
Scott does all the fun ones. What, I got to go sit at the beach all day? Okay. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. And we've only got 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna talk about music while running. Is iPods appropriate, and when are they appropriate, if appropriate? And of course, what is coming up for Athlete Guild? This is Mark with iSpeakFree.net, and we'll be right back. Thursdays, Races and Events is presented by eDragonTees.com, the premier company for your T-shirts, your banners, hats, flyers, embroidery, web design, and yes, even your koozies for your beverages. Online at eDragonTees.com. That's eDragon, TEES.com.
Volunteer. Is there a weekend that is an off weekend from racing or training? Then volunteer. Find an event in your area. Email the director or point of contact. Volunteer and help out the community that gives you so much. All events need volunteers from setup to registration to course marshals, to finish line to water stations. You get the hint. Volunteer today.
Oh, yeah. How fast can you run 1 mile? The second annual Crossman 1 Mile coming up June 14th in San Antonio, Texas. Find out more information at crossman.org. And, of course, ispeakforyou.net. This segment brought to you by SanAntonioTriathlete.com for all your training, rankings, race, news, swimming and cycling safety, even wetsuit running. SanAntonioTriathlete.com. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get something loaded up on the computer, but I want Sherry to talk to us about Athlete Guild. What's going on?
You kill me.
You tell me you want to talk about something, and then I'll like just lead you into it professionally and so awesome, and you're like, I'm playing with 31 cents over here.
I know. I just want to say how important it is to do your homework when you want to hire an event manager or a timing company. I know Scott Wood has put on races and timed races for, I think, 12 years now, and I've done it for 32 years. So it's real important to have somebody who really knows what they're doing, who understands their software, their equipment, and understands the venues, the locations, the police, who to talk to in the cities. You know, all the movers and shakers. I can't stress enough. We've had so many different other people that would put on an event, and people would come to us and say, "Oh, I didn't know this person in the contract wasn't going to mark the course until the day before." And then they would say, "Oh, wait, we don't do that, but I will do it for $500." You know, it's just different things that'll pop up, and just know what you're doing, what you're getting, the experience that people have, new timers that are in the community. Timing, it seems easy, like, oh, there's a chip and there's a mat or there's sensors. It's easy. It just pops up. Well, no, it really doesn't just pop up. There's a lot behind it. If you don't have the right equipment, the people in there, if you don't have your software set up, your database, everything evolves around that. I know one of my friends was third overall at a race, and she wasn't even recognized at all. And the timer was like, "Well, I don't have you. And I don't have your chip. I don't have you. I don't have anything." And, you know, it took probably a month of her pressuring him until finally the photographer had a picture of her being third overall. So this is real important. If your event is not managed right or timed correctly, and then people don't want to come back.
So true.
So, I mean, I feel the same way. I've been running for almost 34 years now, and $30 to $40 is very important to me. If I go spend it on a race entry fee, I want to get what I pay for. Right.
So true. I mean, I've done a race where the timer didn't get anybody, and then asked me who was first. And I was like, "Are you kidding me right now? Seriously?" Right. Well, I don't even know who was first. I'm like, "Well, you're the timer." I don't know.
Right.
You got to be kidding me.
There are mistakes that happen, and it happens to everyone. But if the whole field is missed, then obviously there's a major mistake. I'm just saying, if you want to hire somebody, do your homework and find out who has experience, and find out what they really are going to do on race day, and get no surprises.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Because you're like, "Oh, I want you to run registration." Okay. And you get there and you're like, "Okay, where's the start finish line?" "Oh, you said registration. You didn't say anything about that."
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. You know, here's I mean, obviously Athlete Guild runs the gamut, has registration, has online registration, has its own number printing system. It's really cool what Athlete Guild has the folks that go out and mark the course, and not even that, but certify the course to make sure it's correct. Not just to walk it with their watch or their GPS going, yeah, that looks about right. No, you guys know what you're doing. And that's one thing I love about Athletes Guild. When I go to a race or they hire me and I go, who's your timer? And they say, Athletes Guild. I'm like, oh, yeah, perfect. I know what to expect. Professionalism, personable, right on cue every time. And every race I've done with Athletes Guild, when I announce the awards, I've never had a problem. Awesome. And I can't say that about everybody. Even Rock and Roll Marathon, they have issues. But it takes a while to get them. But so with that said, everybody go to Athlete Guild, go online, and find out what they can do for you. And if they can't, I bet you they can. I bet there is no, we can't do that. I bet there is, they can do that. Music while running, let's talk about it real quick, because a lot of folks run with earphones and ear pods and all that stuff in their ears. Sherry, I know you're animate about this. We had a young lady that was killed last year. She was running with it.
This year.
Was it this year?
January.
See, it was so long ago.
January 1st.
Yeah. So she was killed while running with her earphones in and everything. What do you say to folks that are like, you know what, I'm going to train and I want to wear this, and I know you do it, but what do you say for that?
I do run with music now. However, I put a headphone in one ear, only an earbud in one ear, not the other ear. So I can still hear things. I can still hear anybody approaching me, a car, anything like that. It's very, car doesn't approach me because I run facing traffic. That's a whole nother issue. But yeah, it is very important. In races, you're not supposed to have headphones. USA Track and Field insurance does not cover. Let's say if you're wearing your headphones and you don't realize that a plane just dropped on you, or it's about to, they're not going to cover that. And we try to tell people that all the time. But I would be at races, somebody will have on headphones, and I'm like, turn left, turn left, turn left, turn left, and they don't hear you.
Right.
And then, of course, they come back and wonder why, they went the wrong way. Well, you didn't hear anybody because your headphones are so loud. And that, it's sad in races, but it's also sad when you can't hear someone approach you from behind and you just get
your personal safety.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we've had races where I was an announcer at, and it was a loop race. They had to do multiple loops, and a young lady was running by, and everybody was yelling at her, turn right, turn right, turn right. And I even got on the microphone, turn right, turn right, turn right, and she just kept just kept running.
Right.
And it was like, okay, well, let her go. Just she'll figure it out when she's like, wait a minute, where's everybody, and where's the course markings? Oh, no, about literally 20 minutes later, she comes running back.
Right.
Why didn't you tell me? Unplug.
I see it almost every single weekend. Yeah. So it's pretty sad, but I don't know how you can change that, or I like like I said, I like running with music too, but I never run with two in my ears unless I'm on a treadmill. Yeah.
And the rules have changed in San Antonio. We'll talk about it real quick, but rules have changed. I remember running down Mulberry and St. Mary's and running Brackenridge Park all over the place around over there, and everything, and you can't do that anymore. It's really restrictive on races. Talk about races where you can run. The city is like, okay, we're for fitness and everything, and I've talked to the mayor about this. We're for fitness. We want everybody to get fit. We don't want a big city, blah blah blah, but we're going to restrict you on where you can run.
Right. Well, the city's made a lot of improvements with the trails systems, the greenways, and the things that we have now. However, it is real hard to get permits sometimes. The San Antonio River Authority, you can only have one race a month, and on a certain Saturday, you
can't put any markings down there.
You have to pay your permits in cash on a credit card. There's so much. You can't have a check. It's real crazy.
Weird.
Yeah. There's like, these are behind the scene things runners don't realize unless you actually put on races. But just like city streets, if you want to run on a city street, it can be up to $10,000 for police protection, barricades, all the things that involved.
Don't those plans have to be approved? You can't go on, sit at home, watching Glee or whatever, because I know you do, and
no.
you can't sit at home watching Glee, on Map My Run, mapping a course, going, okay, that's a course we're going to run. That looks good. We can do that.
No.
You can't do that.
No.
Because it has to go through permits and everything.
Yeah, and I don't sit at home and do that anyway. But yeah, that's,
You're a gleek,
that's
you
funny.
know it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you go check out the course, but you always have to get it approved.
Yeah.
You can't just say, "Oh, I want to run by the Alamo," and no, it has to get approved, and it's going to cost you.
It's going to cost you a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a local company that puts on races down there, and more power to them. But they're losing more money than what they're making. I guarantee you that. I can guarantee that.
Right.
But folks, Sherry was like, "Oh my God, I got to talk for an hour. I don't know what to say." She had plenty to say. She had plenty to say.
I'm sweating.
She's sweating. She's so nervous with the microphone. Believe me, I could never get her. I got her at one race at Fiesta Mission last year. I got her to say, "Have a good run," and I think it was it. Like 4 words. But no, it's an honor. It's truly an honor to have her here because she used to beat me up, knock me out as a kid. Now I get to make fun of her all around the world. But no, everybody, Athlete Guild, that's the place to go. The timing, the professionalism you get from there is just incredible. I tried to hire them for a race, but they're so busy they couldn't even fit me in. But of course, I asked them at the last minute, which was stupid of me. But it's one of those things like, even if you're going to hire me as your announcer,
we're never too busy.
Yeah, that's right. Because you want that event, you want to do those events. Those events are cool. But again, this is Mark from iSpeakFree.net. We're on Thursdays. Noon is Central Standard Time, races and events. It's free. Next week, if you want to have an event that you want to talk about, you can be able to call in. You're going to be able to text in. We'll talk about your event and put that out. And we also do commercials, obviously, for folks. And if you want to get a hold of us, that's info@iSpeakFree.net. The Twitter is @iSpeakForYou. Our hashtag is iSpeakForYouRadio. Our Instagram is iSpeakForYou, even though we don't have any pictures on there because I haven't figured out how to use the Instagram yet. And, of course, Facebook, iSpeakForYou.net is the Facebook page. You don't have to like us. I know some people are like, "Oh, like us. We get more sponsors." We don't have sponsors. We just do it because we like it. And it's for you anyway. I speak for you. That's how it works. But Sherry, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure the girls have tore up the room in there, but that's fine. They're cousins. They can do that. And this is Mark with iSpeakFree.net. Again, have a great weekend, everybody. Take care. God bless and be careful. And hydrate.